Welcome to the MSC Ocean Cay Marine Reserve in November of 2022. Hey everyone, I'm Patrick from Oakland Travel, and I was cruising by myself as a solo passenger. First time I had ever done that. There is the MSC Meraviglia there on a beautiful beach here in the Bahamas in November, which is a really good time to go cruising because you're kind of really out of the hurricane season for the most part. And this is a beautiful island. This is MSC's reserve here. And you see the lighthouse here that's coming into frame a little bit on the right side of the screen here. This is one of the things that MSC does on this island is they set off like a light show here in the lighthouse at night. And we were supposed to see it, but we missed it because unfortunately for us, it was a little 3-night cruise, and on the second day of the cruise, we were supposed to arrive at the island around noon and be able to stay off the ship until like midnight or something really late before everybody had to be back on board. And they were going to do the light show at like 10 o'clock that night or whatever it was. And then the next day, which would have been day 3 of the cruise, you know, the ship is still there docked at the island and you get off and so on and so on. Well, for our cruise on day 2, the currents were too strong. The ship was not able to kind of get in here and dock. And so for us, the second day of the cruise ended up being a sea day. And we were out here just sort of doing donuts around the island. So what you're looking at here is the footage of day number 3. So we got one pretty much full day on the island, but we did not get a chance to see the light show from the lighthouse, unfortunately, because it just didn't happen. So, but you know, it's actually a good excuse to go and do the cruise again, because I got back and I told my wife about it, and she was pretty excited about the idea of doing this little 3-night cruise. This particular deal was out of Port Canaveral, Florida, and we're in Orlando, which is not too far away. And so we might actually do this one again, and she'll go with me. So that way, you know, I get a chance to see the show at night from the lighthouse and everything. One thing that you might notice about the island from the footage you've seen already so far in this clip here, it's not, I don't know how to phrase it. It's not like Royal Caribbean or NCL or Princess or Disney. It's not very overloaded with water slides and all sorts of other stuff like that, right? It's very straightforward, I guess is probably the way to put it, right? You got a beautiful beach. Bars, you know, things like that. Here we switch over to my 360 camera, kind of change it up a little bit. But, you know, it's not, at least by the time I was there in November of 2022, MSC had not turned it into like this, like a very just overloaded with all kinds of like rides and this and that and slides and, you know, whatever, right? It's very, because they do call it a nature preserve, right? The MSC Ocean Cay Marine Reserve. And so that in that name alone, it kind of seems to dictate the direction that MSC is probably going to stick with as far as the island is concerned. So it's an awesome place to get off the ship in an absolutely beautiful beach, do some water activities. You see that it's pretty natural, pretty pristine, right? And so that's kind of something to take into account when you're going to do a cruise on MSC and come over here to the reserve. There's not going to be a lot of crazy stuff like you might be able to do with Royal Caribbean or with NCL or, you know, one of the other cruise lines where their focus on their private island is let's see how much stuff we can put on there. And I'm kind of looking at Royal Caribbean when I'm saying this because at the time that I'm putting this video together in September of 2023, Royal Caribbean has just announced Hideaway Bay. And, you know, they're adding all this much more stuff to their private island in addition to what they already have. And then you see MSC's Marine Reserve and you see how basic it is. But that's by design. You know, you got a couple of water-related activities on the other side of the island. They got some jet skis over there, bars that are strategically placed around the island that don't sort of take away from the natural beauty of the island. But there's, you know, now they were still doing construction when I was here in November of 2022. There seemed to be some activity kind of in the center of the island. But I don't think they're going to go in the direction that a lot of the other cruise lines have gone in terms of the private island here. They're going to probably keep it pretty similar to what's what you already see here along that same theme. So again, this is the MSC Ocean Cay Marine Reserve in the Bahamas, and this was November of 2022 by myself, a little 3-night cruise out of Port Canaveral, and had a great time. Probably going to go back and do this one again at some point if we can figure out how to work it into the calendar, and my wife will probably go with me.